Hi, I'm Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I want to talk a little bit more about exposing the trunk flares of trees. This is one of my Japanese maples, and you might think by looking at it that the flare is exposed well enough. And it actually was at one point, but now it's gotten covered with mulch again. I'm about to plant some new pansies in this area. And there's a couple of ways to go. One, you can use the commercial method of using the air spade, have a arborist, a tree care company come and do it, the uncovering with an air spade, or you can do it yourself with a couple of techniques. And one of my favorites is with a horse brush, good stiff bristled brush, so especially for small trees like this. And you can simply, especially if there's a little moisture in the soil like there is here, you can simply brush the debris away. And this is something that you may have to just fine-tune, touch up from time to time as it fills back in. And remember that you can't overexpose the trunk flare of a tree. The more that's exposed, I think the better it is for the tree. And you'll see dramatic improvement in the health of the tree the very first growing season. Very first spring that's coming up. If you use a brush and it's not moist enough, if it's too dry it won't work, and if it's too wet it won't either. So getting a good nice moisture level like I have here is what you need, and it really works well. Okay, here's a related situation. This is a larger tree. This is a red oak, and it's had the flare exposed in the past. But what happens is twofold. One is that the Persian ivy continues to grow into the tree. We cut it back about a foot every year. This is a good project to do in the winter, is to get the ground covers and ivies back from the trunks and the flares of your trees. You never want to allow them to grow up on the trunk. It holds moisture and does as much damage in some ways as having soil up on the trunk. So getting all the leaves out, mulch the leaves into the lawn is the best way to handle them. And the excess leaves you put in the compost pile. But the first thing you do with them is to mulch them into the grass areas, into the turf. If you have excess there, you can throw them over into the beds. And then the final step is to take those ground up leaves to the compost pile. I'll show you just one side of the tree here. And even though we've exposed this tree in the past with the air spade, it will continue to build up a little bit of soil, especially the first couple of years. And you may need to do just a little bit of this work to get the soil and the mulch away from the trees. I would like to be able to, in an ideal situation, step on the flare of the tree. Again, it's part of the trunk, it's not part of the root system. So exposing just a little bit more here would be a good idea. Unfortunately, when these trees were planted, and I was around at that time, I wasn't as concerned about the root flare as I should have been. None of us in the business were. And they were planted at what appeared to be the proper height, but lo and behold, the original soil level was about here. So I've uncovered about that much soil in the past, and now I'm going to do just a little bit more. And we do that all the way around the tree, of course. Best thing in the world you can do for your trees. There's nothing that will turn a tree's health around, help it produce more growth, more flowering, more fruit production if it is a fruit or nut tree, and just help eliminate problems like insects and diseases. A lot of times insects and diseases will hit a tree because it's in stress, and one of the main reasons that a tree is in stress often is that the flare is covered. I hope that helps.